Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is James.
My name is Joey.
And this is the Brothers Padre.
James. Hey, how's it going, bud?
It's going all right, Joe. How about you?
Good. Much better now after the last series and the previous series.
I entitled this episode, "It was the worst of times." It was the best of times.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, things are good in Padres land in general. I feel like vibes are good, despite we'll talk about Manny Machado being on the IL and, well, injured, and then Tatis still not coming back. Tied in first. I think vibes are good.
Vibes are good. Our team is looking up. We're still producing runs. Should we just dive into the bad part?
Yes, we should just dive into the recap because we have to talk about the bad part. Yeah.
So this week of games started Friday, June 17th. We were in Colorado to face the Rockies. Mm-hmm. We played 3 games in which we lost all 3. The first game, we lost 10-4. Mm-hmm. The second game was pretty close. We lost 5-4. The third game, we lost 8-3. And yes, normally I break down who did what and where, but the problem was all the horrible things that happens in Colorado happened.
Yeah.
The first game, Mackenzie Gore pitched. He was hitting his spots, but the Rockies were hitting dinky little singles because when you play in Colorado, your outfielders have to play way back. So little flares in the outfield that are usually caught by outfielder running in weren't caught. And Mackenzie Gore gave up a bunch of runs. But his stuff looked better from his previous start. We had a bad outing. Second game, we were, closer. The third game, Blake Snell started, and you and I said probably the worst umpire of the year.
Yeah.
He had a strike zone the size of a cell phone.
Yeah.
Blake Snell was in Cy Young caliber Blake Snell. He was hitting the corners, but none of them were called strikes.
Yeah.
I believe it was 12 pitches that should have been strikes but were called balls.
No good.
That changes innings.
Yep.
But regardless, they outhit us, they outscored us, and we have now lost 10 since last year, 10 in a row to Colorado in Coors Field.
It's I texted you this. It's a godforsaken place. It is a town God is obviously forsaken, and so nothing good can come of it.
No, nothing good can come of it. And on top of that, Sunday, the first inning, Manny Machado, who everyone accuses never hustles. You know why he never hustles? Because he hustled down first base and sprained his ankle. Are you happy?
Yeah. It is alarming how bad we are at Coors Field. Alarming. Maybe it's just because the pitchers. I was thinking, and for the Rockies, we only have won 1 game against the Rockies this year.
2. The first 2 of that 4
That's right.
series.
So we're 2-4 against them
At home.
Right.
Well, now we're 5-2 against them.
But the ones at home were like far closer. But I was thinking back about this. It was the same starting pitchers. It was Snell, Martinez, and Gore were like always the guys we're playing against. And so like maybe it's just those guys are bad against Rockies hitters, and maybe next time we'll see him. We'll have Musgrove, Manaea, Darvish, and Clevenger, right? Though I think Clevenger pitched the first series, but it is so weird. It is to go from a Mets series, from a Phillies series, like good teams in the National League, and we roll up against the Rockies, and it's just like struggle muffin. It's so bizarre, and the Rockies, like I don't quite understand how is it physically possible literally possible that we lose 10 in a row in the most prime hitter environment in all of baseball. That's just bananas. And I'm not looking forward to, I hate, you and I hate watching Coors games to begin with because of this, because they're always a tough watch because of this, because you just.
Yeah, they're always a tough watch, and they're always stupid.
Yeah.
They're just the stupid games, and Bud Black loves beating us because, he was our manager, but I think he would rather have been a Rockies manager in the early teens than opposed to being a Padre manager.
Yeah. But yeah, there'll be a thorn on our side still.
We play them again in Colorado for another 3-game series. It was the last series before the All-Star game starting July 11th. So that is probably the time of true redemption.
Yeah. Hold on to your butts, everybody.
So, like I said, I'm not going to, there's no point in digging into all the stats of the pitchers because nothing counts. You shouldn't accept anybody's stats. Is Mackenzie Gore sliding to be a bad pitcher? I don't know because his last start was in Colorado. We do know Snell pitched better, but did the stats reflect that? No, because he pitched in Colorado.
Yeah.
Did Nick Martinez pitch bad? I don't know because he was in Colorado. So it doesn't make. I hate Colorado. Anyways, we then leave Colorado and fly back to sunny Southern California. And we started a 3-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The first game, we won 4-1. Darvish, 7 innings, 1 earned run. The best way I could describe Darvish, and what makes Darvish, I think, one of the most dominant pitchers, is he did not have his best stuff this game.
Nope.
He hit several of them. He walked several people, and he was effectively wild. He figured out what 3 pitches worked, but he kept on throwing his pitches that didn't work because they were scared of it.
Right.
And he dominated for 7 pitches. He knew what worked and didn't work. Jake Cronenworth hit a home run. Kim drove in 2 RBIs. You cannot argue with that victory.
Nope.
Game 5 of this week, we won 3-2. It was an 11th inning, extra inning win. It was a pitcher's duel. Sean Manaea went 6 innings, only giving it 2 earned runs. Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks struck out 11 Padres. But I think I wrote down, to be fair, I think it's because is he the slowest worker in all of baseball?
He's so slow. Fangraphs actually has a leaderboard. I should look it up. I'd imagine he's pretty. He's for a starter. He's very slow.
He's very slow. By the time he throws the ball, our batters are asleep.
Yeah,
he's so unbelievably slow.
Yeah,
but Jorge Alfaro drove in the winning run in the 11th inning, driving in Ozakar, and Jorge Alfaro became an instant meme.
Yep.
Because live on television while being broadcast out into the entire stadium, he dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Let's effing go, San Diego. And that's on T-shirts and posters and all over Twitter. It's Twitter's favorite thing right now. Because Alfaro is pretty awesome.
Now, obviously, the main catcher of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah. It's clear... Because he's producing and he's he's physically a better catcher. He can throw people out.
Oh, it's true though.
I mean, Aaron Nola and Alfaro can both call really good games, but Alfaro is a bigger weapon behind home plate and a better hitter.
Yep.
I mean, Nola's hitting pretty well, decently. Nola's hitting like you expect a National League catcher to hit.
Yeah.
Alfaro is just a little bit extra of a threat. And the final game of this recap, Game 6, we won 10-4. Clevenger started the game. He only lasted 4 innings. He threw 81 pitches. I don't understand. He just seems to throw so many extra pitches he doesn't need to.
Snell and Clevenger have the same problem, I feel like. They have dynamite stuff, but they have such high pitch counts. They don't fill up the zone as much as they should. And yeah, I agree. It's just like whenever he allows contact, it's super weak.
And he can throw in the zone,
Right.
and people just strike out because his stuff has such much movement. But it's almost like him and Snell, when they do throw out of the zone, the hitters know it's coming out. Then,
Right.
swing at it. It's super frustrating. But even Bob Melvin at the end of the game, Bob Melvin returned this game.
That's right. I forgot to mention that. He was injured on the COVID IL for
10 games.
10 games, yeah.
And he came back this game and he said, Clevenger just needs to be more efficient and he'll get to 100 pitches in 7 innings, no time.
Yeah.
And that's great. But so that was, and Madison Bumgarner, this is the third time in Padres history we've dinged Madison Bumgarner for more than 6 or more runs in his career.
I feel like the past 2 years we've been very mean to Mr. Madison. Past 4 years, I feel like we've been pretty brutal towards him. Yeah.
I mean, he's only ever played on the West Coast.
That's true.
He's only ever played against the Padres. I also believe he currently has the most shutouts against us as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised.
He's still a good pitcher. He got his 2,000 strikeout.
Yeah.
He struck out Voit. But the real news is the Padres offense. We scored 10 runs.
Yeah.
Jorge Alfaro got 2 hits, including another home run. Ozakar was a home run short of a cycle. And Jerickson Profar had a 4-hit game.
Yep.
5 hits, if including the one that landed on his thigh. And for those who didn't watch the game, the 5th at-bat Jerickson Profar had, it was in the 8th inning.
Yeah, so we're up by 7 runs at a time, yeah.
And their pitcher, Smith,
On 3-0.
First pitch almost hit Jerickson.
Yeah.
Second pitch was outside. Third pitch was inside. Fourth pitch drilled him in the leg.
Yeah.
So to say it was intentional, you never want to say something was intentional, but you can 80% sure.
I mean,
say it was
this is
intentional.
only hit batsman the entire year. And the other at bats, he wasn't missing the spots at all.
Yeah.
You're like, and there's beef between the Profar and the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks believe he was too aggressive running around second during the opening series in Arizona. And I obviously they're still mad about it. But the Padres were were the better men.
Because we didn't drill any of those Diamondbacks. Right. And Mark Grant had that line, if you don't want him to get 5 hits, pitch better.
Yeah.
But also they knew they were going to lose, so might as well hit him in the back of the leg.
I'm very glad about the runs because this was the worst defended Padres game all year, I think.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
It's so bad. Nick Martinez should have been charged for 2 errors in the last inning. Inexplicably, the first error was he's trying to cover for first, and Voit tosses to him, and it just bounces out of his glove. Very catchable ball. Voit somehow gets charged for the error.
It's not his. I know that was, and Voit made an obvious error early in the game where the ball bounced, hit his glove and bounced out. But Voit isn't DH. He's not a first baseman.
Right.
Okay, fine. That also didn't lead to a run. The other error was Jerickson Profar and Grisham collided in the outfield.
Yeah.
And dropped a ball. A rookie mistake. They weren't paying attention. And then Nick Martinez, what I don't know what he was thinking.
So the scene is there's first and third in the 9th, and they're up by 7 runs. 7 runs. And there's 1 out, and a ground ball goes to Nick Martinez. And, if it's a 1-run game, try to get the double play, right? I get it. Instead, he errantly throws the ball to second instead of getting the easy. He's halfway between first base and the mound, and he decides to do this sidearm throw to second to CJ Abrams. CJ Abrams what? I don't know how to get
CJ Abrams I'm just here because I'm not here to cover the space. Everyone knows you throw it to first.
Yeah. And so it was just so weird. And then the gaff in the outfield, like you said, it was It was ugly. It was
The first time the Padres have committed 4 errors in a game since 2017.
That's wild. That's wild. And the Profar Grisham one was like, Grisham shouldn't be that far over in left field. That's very obviously Profar's ball. Like, it's just let Profar have it.
Well, because for whatever reason, nobody was yelling. That's the whole purpose. You're supposed to yell.
If I was an outfielder, I would yell all the time.
Yeah.
I got it. You're only there. You're the only one. I got it.
I got it. You're the only one within 50 feet. I know, but I got it. You wave your arms. You blow.
Yeah,
You have a whistle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be me.
Whistle.
That'd be me. That'd be me. Yeah.
So it was an ugly defended game. Also, the Diamondbacks committed 2 errors. Should have been 5 on their end as well, but for whatever reason they didn't call. Their third baseman biffed like 3 plays.
Isn't Josh Rojas normally a right fielder? I feel like he's
one
normally
of those
right.
guys that's like a right fielder, second baseman, who's also a third baseman for some reason, and he was in third base.
Yeah, I mean, a better third baseman would mean that there'd be no runs in the first. There was 2 outs and a hot shot to third, and he just biffed it.
Yeah,
and so
he biffed about 3 plays at third base that game, and only 1 was called an error. So it was an ugly defensive game. The difference between the Padres and Diamondbacks are the Diamondbacks only capitalized on 1 of those errors.
Right.
We capitalized on all of them.
Yeah. Yep. That's what good teams do, though.
Yeah. So you and I were both wrong on our predictions.
Yes.
I said 5-1. You said 4-2. We were 3-3.
Yep.
But I will take a 50% 3-3 and still be tied for first.
Yep. In the past 10 games, we're 7-3. You know, that's basically the last 3 series. In fact, if you normalize that, it mean we basically won every other series from a win-loss perspective.
Exactly.
So nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm excited for what's next. It's going to we play much better teams next couple weeks, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, so our next 6 games are 4 against Philadelphia in Petco and 2 more against Arizona in Arizona.
Yep. So, James, what do you think is going to happen next 6 games? What do you think the record's going to be? What's your thoughts? What's your vibes?
Well, the Phillies can hit the ball.
Yep.
Well, okay, let me rephrase. There's one Philly that can hit every pitch thrown to him.
Right.
That's Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
There's another Philly that if you pitch him high, he can't hit it, and he also can't feel his position, and that's Schwarber.
Yep.
Who was supposed to be the DH, but since Harper got hurt,
Right.
And then there's another Philly that for some reason, if you pitch him anything other than low and inside, he can't hit it, and that's Castellanos.
Right.
So as long as you can avoid those sparts of those 2 hitters, and he also can't feel his position. So I think it's tough because I don't know who are we facing on their team. Are we going to be facing Wheeler and...
Wheeler pitched yesterday, so we will not be seeing Wheeler, and we're very happy about that because Wheeler is a nightmare.
And did that mean Nola pitched 2 days ago?
So Nola pitches on Friday.
Okay.
So it's Suarez today on the first game Thursday, Nola on Friday, and they have not announced starters for Saturday and Sunday. But for us, it's Musgrove, Gore, Snell, and
Darvish. So I think we might lose Friday just because Nola is a machine. I think we're going to win tonight.
Last time, though, we won the famed almost no-hitter game.
Yes.
Where Travis Jankowski nearly killed himself trying to get the ball into center field.
Yes. If we could just keep slapping the ball to left field, Kyle Schwarber might be the worst defensive player in all of baseball.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Just keep slapping the ball left field. Let him keep running. I think The optimist in me says we're going to take 3 out of 4 from the Phillies
Yeah.
because our pitching is better.
Right.
And since we missed Wheeler, if we were facing Wheeler and Nola, different story.
Yep. I agree.
But I think they take 3 out of 4 from the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. It's their hometown. I think we split that series. So I say 5-1. 4-2.
Interesting.
Now, I think there's no excuse for us not to sweep the Diamondbacks with
Right.
Minaya, and I think because the Musgrove missed his spot because of COVID.
Yeah, it might be Musgrove again. Yeah.
They'll probably just start Clevenger again in that spot.
They might do Musgrove in LA to start the series in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're facing Wheeler, it's a different series. I think we sweep the Diamondbacks. I'm going backwards. I think we sweep the Diamondbacks. I think we have to. I think they're a known commodity. I think we're a much better team than them. What we haven't talked about in the Arizona series, though, their 2 best hitters were not available.
True.
I say that, though, but Christian Walker has 19 home runs, so
He has 19 home runs, but he's hitting a $102, and his on-base percentage is like 6.
Yeah.
So, no, whenever he hits the ball, it goes 1,000 feet in the air, but he only hits the ball 1 out of 10 times.
I doubt we miss Cattell and David Peralta again. They're probably going to rest up.
Probably.
So, I still think we win. I think we go. I think we're going to be 5-1. I think we take 3 from the Phillies and we sweep the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
I think that
I like the way you think better than me.
I think that the Phillies are like. This is going to be a complete radical thought, but good pitching always beats good hitting.
Oh, I agree. That's why I think
Yeah. And the issue I have with the Phillies is the Phillies have good pitchers, but they have such a bad bullpen. And as long as we can keep this train of quality start train going, that gives us a fighting shot in every game we play.
Yes.
And I think we have a good shot. And I think that, we've faced people in this. The Mets series had people just as good as Bryce Harper, right? From a capability perspective, and I think we can see that, and we can work around Bryce Harper.
Oh, I agree. I'm not too scared of Bryce Harper. The hitters that I'm scared of on the Phillies is Bryce Harper, but I think we can pitch around him, and Segura, because he's a slap hitter.
Segura is such a pet. Segura is like Tel Marte to me. He can always get hits everywhere.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that's my guess, and I'm happy next time when we record that I'll be sitting here gloating because I'll be accurate.
And if they do 2 bullpen days at the end of the series, because they haven't announced their starters because they don't have enough starters,
Yeah,
I think the last 2 games are a shoe and win.
yeah.
I also to tie in, because I know we're going to talk about a few trade rumors.
Oh, my favorite.
If anything proved to me about the last Arizona series, if teams like the Phillies or the Mets aren't looking to trade for Zach Gallen, what are they doing?
Zach Gallen's a beast.
Yes.
He might die next year with a pitch clock.
You don't want to. Yeah.
He might just quit baseball.
Zach Gallen walked in 9 runners in the first inning as he just can't move faster. But teams like the Phillies that need starting pitching,
Yeah.
I don't know what their farm system situation is, but
Yeah. Zach Gallen's a problem. He's a really good pitcher.
Diamondbacks aren't doing anything. They're not spending any money. They're trying to rebuild. You have this one guy who probably legitimately can get you some good prospects.
Yeah.
He's like the blaring piece I think a lot of teams with bad pitching should be after.
Yep.
Because there, as far as you and I were talking about this off air, with the expanded playoffs, it's going to make trade deadlines so weird because
Right.
the Rockies might not want to trade because they're 6 wins away from being in the playoffs
Right.
right now. there are other teams that just might not want to trade because they might have a legit shot. So trade deadlines might not happen at all.
In the way we think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
where it's usually just like 7 or 8 blockbuster trades towards the end of the game. That might not happen.
Right.
You have to look at the teams that are in last place that might want to rebuild. The Reds, but the Reds only have maybe one player worth trading for. They're not trading Hunter Green. He is their franchise future. And Zach Gallen I think he might be the big trade piece that people are going after. And I know he won't be traded to the Dodgers because the Diamondbacks do not trade to any West Coast teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Phillies are a landing spot for them. I think Padres have no need for it, obviously. But yeah, I also think like Jose Quintana of the Pirates, another good. Someone might go after him, the Pirates. But yeah,
he's one of those guys that would have a way lower ERA if the team behind him didn't suck.
Yeah. 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 So I'd be curious to know. Like, yeah, we might as well jump in the trade. We're talking about trade rumors now, but yeah, trade deadline is going to be very weird because of that. Because of the expanded playoffs, people are going to be 5 games out of the periphery. A lot of teams will be, right? I mean, the Rockies' internal goal is to be at 500 in the next month.
Yes.
And they can because they're, I mean, you know, we clown on the Rockies, but they're still a major league team. They still have good hitters. Garrett Hampson can be a good hitter. You know, you have Chris Bryant. CJ Cron is having a career year.
Yes, he is.
Charlie Blackmon, as long as he's playing the Padres, is, you know, Barry Bonds. So, and guess what? They're going to play a lot of the Padres. So
exactly. The thing is so the reason why I bring up trade deadlines now is because starting basically now is when all the teams start looking at what they need.
Yeah.
And after the All-Star break is usually when trades start to happen. The trade deadline is going to be August 2nd this year because everything was pushed back because of the season starting late. So now is where all the rumors start flying around and GMs will start talking, and no one's going to trade. If you're looking to trade for another team's All-Star, no one's going to do that until after the All-Star game.
Right.
Which brings us to the best rumor I've heard in a while.
Right.
There is a team that plays in Los Angeles that is having a really bad year and is looking to do a complete rebuild, but they can't because they have so many outrageous, unruly contracts. They have one player that they can trade and get a bunch of prospects. And there's literally only 2 teams in baseball that have the amount of prospects they want for this one player. So my question is, Joey, who would you give up for Shohei Ohtani?
For the guy that is literally both Kevin Brown and Greg Vaughn.
Yes. Because Joey and I are, if nothing, always stuck in the 1998 team.
Right. Can't ever move past it. 24 years ago. So anyway, I'm not feeling old.
But to be fair about why we love 1998, that year as a school project, you and I scored every baseball game. And that was the first year.
It's also the best Padre team of all time.
Best Padre team of all time. So not only did we watch the entire Padre season together with all of our siblings, we also scored every game as a part of learning statistics and a part of our maths homework to do all that.
Yeah.
So we intimately, that was probably the first season you and I both intimately watched and took apart every season. So we're very well versed in that team. That being said, who would you give?
Who would I trade for Ohtani? Gore, which kills me. Gore is the headliner because the Angels are going to want a frontline starter or a potential frontline starter. That will be cheap for a long time.
Yes,
and that's Mackenzie Gore. Gore, Capasano,
Probably Hassel the third.
This is where it gets tough because there has never been, and this is not, I will die on this hill. There has never been a more talented baseball player than Shohei Ohtani.
I agree.
Just to give you some context, dear listeners, if you aren't aware, 2 days ago, he had a 8 RBI game with 2 3-run homers. The next game, he pitched 7 innings, had 13 strikeouts. That's insanity.
First time that has ever any player in history has ever done that in 2 games.
It's just,
But the reason Shohei is also not happy playing in Anaheim,
I mean, yeah, he's
because he drove. That was also the first time in Major League Baseball history a player has drove in 8 RBIs and been on the losing team.
yeah, it's absolutely bananas.
So out of all the high scoring games in baseball history, there's never been a player that's driven 8 or more runs and has been on the losing team.
So having 2 top 10 prospects makes sense at the outset, and one who could possibly become a Cy Young caliber pitcher.
Yes.
Gore, and this is for a year and a half of Ohtani. Next year is a completely different calculus. For a 3-month rental, it's not this expensive.
No.
But for a year and a half of Ohtani, in a time in which we can just replace Mackenzie Gore with the best DH in the American League.
Yeah, we're not losing a spot in a rotation.
Right. That's where it gets a little wild. I mean, okay, this is what I want to do. Gore, Capasano, Hosmer, and I mean, if Perry Minasian calls AJ Preller and says, "Give me Gore, Capasano, Hassel the third, and a 100 ranked starting pitcher in your some other like starting pitcher potential in your minor league system," that's the most expensive prospect capital deal the Padres have ever done. But I think you make the deal.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
Because you don't lose a starting position. You don't lose your spot in rotation. We already use a 6-man rotation.
Yes.
We have the best. I will reiterate this again. The best DH in the American League. You have collisions with Hosmer, but I could care less. Okay? Because you just made honestly the biggest blockbuster trade in baseball history. And I know, and I understand Boston and Yankees fans will say that that's obviously Babe Ruth, but like Babe Ruth has, I don't know. Babe Ruth is not the most overrated. He's fairly rated. He's a fairly rated player. He's a very good player, but you cannot tell me that Babe Ruth is more impressive than Shohei Ohtani.
No, because Babe Ruth was a great pitcher and a great hitter.
Right.
But he never struck out 13 the day after he drove an 8.
Right. This era of baseball is so hyper specialized. The DH died because pitchers are like, I don't have time to practice hitting. Then comes this freak from Japan, and it's like, oh, I could do both at an exceptional level. Yeah. And it's just like, it's bananas. It's insane to watch.
Also, Shohei has a not a 100% no trade clause,
right,
but he has to approve the trade.
Yeah.
He likes San Diego.
Yeah, it was our second choice, he said.
His childhood idol plays for San Diego, Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I this is all pie in the sky dreaming right now, but it's the biggest trade rumor on the market right now.
Yeah, we're not going to get into it. We don't want to be. There is a strong chance that the Angels lose a lot of money soon. And I'm being very careful. I don't want the mouse to come after me.
Yes, you have to Google it.
LA Times.
Yeah, there is currently a giant scandal happening between a House of Mouse and Anaheim, in which the Anaheim mayor has already resigned for, might do time for, all about contracts and government
Backroom deals and bribes. Yeah.
and the owners of the Angels might have to go to jail.
So,
But again, you have to look only at the LA Times because nobody else is covering it. I don't want to sound like Alex Jones here, but nobody else is talking about it.
they're afraid of the mouse.
They're
dude.
afraid of the mouse.
Yeah.
But the mayor of Irvine has already resigned.
Yeah.
Like
Anaheim.
Anaheim, sorry.
Yeah.
Irvine. Anaheim. This isn't a conspiracy. This is happening. It's so crazy. No one's talking about it.
So, if the Angels have to sell now, they might be willing to part with Shohei. I think it would be like it's on par with one of the dumber decisions because the dude prints money for them. Dude is like a sensation, and you should like for them to be wanting to ship Shohei to someplace. They have to be in such bad place, and they might be. And if they are, AJ Preller, famously, AJ Preller learned Japanese just to court Shohei Ohtani. Like he
Yes.
learned phrases, he was there, and it all came down to the fact at the time the DH was not existing in the National League.
And Shohei, who can play, apparently he won a Gold Glove in the outfield in Japan, can play really good defense, knows that he has a better chance of staying healthy longer if he's just a DH.
Yeah. So, yeah, people have said on Twitter that Preller must think it's the one that got away. So I, if there's a chance to do it, that's the deal I would do.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I would.
Yeah.
Those three players would hurt because Hassel III potentially can be the next Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Campazano, I mean, maybe a team that's struggling could give him a major league reps and he'll be a better hitter. Gore has proven himself to be a really great pitcher, and I would hate to lose him, even though I've badmouthed him for a few years. Seeing this kid's potential live now is different, but even if we can't extend him, and we only get him for a year and a half, I'll take a year and a half of Shohei Ohtani over 3 potential.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Even if all 3 of them become first ballot Hall of Famers, a year and a half of Shohei in this rotation means a year and a half where we are true World Series winners, contenders.
I mean, if that happens, Hosmer either becomes a strictly like off the bench piece, right? Because he doesn't play first base every day. It's Voit. The lineup, and I'm just gonna say this lineup just to make us all excited about something that will not happen. Would be Tatis, probably Jake, Ohtani, Machado, Voit, probably. Voigt's 5th, right? It gets a little hairy here. That's the point why I don't. But the top 5, like, and then you have Profar's having a career year, right? But like, Ohtani hitting in front of Machado would be insane.
yes.
Insane. And then you have a guy who, yeah, like I said, top of line rotation person, and going to the playoffs, like, how electric. I mean, Ohtani feeds off the, like, people say he's a pretty timid star. I think in the big moments, he does actually do well in the big moments. Like, he's an animated person. And
There isn't a single team in baseball, if we roll into the playoffs with Darvish, Snell, Ohtani,
Musgrove.
and Musgrove,
Yeah.
and I mean, think like Snell wouldn't even, I mean, actually, Snell would be in the bullpen. It would be Musgrove, Ohtani, Darvish, and Manaea.
Yeah.
There isn't a team in history that wouldn't want those 4 guys as your 4-man rotation in the playoffs.
Yeah. But I mean, we're gonna have to see if the Angels continue to lose. They're gonna have to sell something. Something has to give because
And the problem is
I'm checking their
the only other player that is maybe tradable is Mike Trout. But Mike Trout has a huge contract and has not produced. He's been hurt a lot. And the other huge piece they have is Rodon, who hasn't played at all. He's constantly hurt. Rendon, yeah. Their other, I always say that name wrong. Rendon, they always and they have a few other decent players, but they're not as attractive as Shohei.
Angels are 5.5 games out of the wild card.
At one point, they were first in the West, AL West, and they just fell. I mean, that's why they fired Joe Madden.
Yep. Athletics are 15 games out of the wild cards. They're probably going to sell. Cincinnati's same. Washington Nationals 14.5. The Cubs, Pittsburgh probably as well. And then Seattle, Detroit, and Kansas City are all probably the people all.
The problem with all those teams is they sold last year to rebuild.
Right.
They might not want to sell more because they're already in the process of rebuilding. And Pittsburgh has a lot of young talent that could be.
O'Neal Cruz is an amazing player.
First of all, somebody 6'9" playing shortstop.
That's crazy.
Just looks weird.
Yeah.
But the guy is insane.
Yeah. Someone posted it reminds me of when Tatis came up.
Yes.
That's how electric this guy is. Like, can throw 96 from shortstop, hits for power, is huge. It's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna send you some trade deals. What if you just can you say yes or no if you want this for the Padre? Wilson Contreras.
I would take Wilson Contreras. Actually, you know what? I don't know because I think
he does play. He has played left field.
I know, but Jorge Alfaro and Nola, I'm okay with not trading because he is an upgrade behind the plate, but he is not a big enough upgrade to trade prospects away for.
Okay. Andrew Benintendi.
If he's not too expensive.
Yeah. Because he kind of is he better than Mazzara and Grisham? I don't know.
No, I mean he might be, but again, if he's not too expensive.
Yeah.
Mazzara has turned out to be quite a nice pickup.
Yeah, right. So Seattle's a weird one, right? Because Seattle's 7.5 games, even though they had a great start and they just fell off the table. So
all their pitchers got hurt.
Right.
And they were the ones I wanted to win the AL West,
right.
but they just fell apart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Seattle family.
Jesse Winker.
Jesse Winker's having a terrible year right now.
Right.
He's a good left-handed bat. Maybe the problem is they just signed him for a lot of money. Again, if he's cheap. If we could get 2 prospects for Winker,
right.
Maybe take a shot with Winker. But nothing over he's not a 3 or 4 prospect guy. He's a 2 prospect guy.
Ty France. I don't know if they'd trade him, but interesting thought experiment.
He is their all-star. I would give up a prospect for Ty France back, and
that deal would have to be Hosmer would also have to leave.
He would have to leave. Yeah, Ty France would be our first baseman. Yes, I would trade a Hassel the third for Ty France, and then a ton of money to Seattle for them to take Hosmer.
Dominic Smith. This is what the Andrew Benintendi thing is like. Same to me is the same problem, right? Like, yeah, the upper bounds of Benintendi and Dom Smith are great.
Yes, but Grisham is starting to hit. His batting average has increased by 10 points last week.
Right.
Jerickson Profar is starting to be hot again. Mazzara is not bad. I don't think Dominic Smith is worth. Like, if we can get him cheap, yeah, like. Not Hassel the third, or maybe like Dominic Smith might be worth a Capizano, but nothing. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Austin Hayes from Baltimore Orioles. Currently 1.7 WAR. He's always been an okay outfielder. That's the thing. The outfield market's so weird right now.
Again, I would rather have Trey Mancini from the Orioles, even though he's older. He would seem like he would mesh better with Machado. Right. I don't like Austin Hayes.
Wow.
I mean,
I'll tell him you said that. He'll be hurt.
I'm sorry, Austin.
He's a longtime listener.
Listen,
weirdly enough.
I know Thanksgiving's going to be awkward now with him around, but here's the thing. I don't know. He's always been a good player. I just have a feeling he's going to be one of those players that they're going to want a lot for.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Dominic Smith. They're going to be like, well, his upside is high. And there's the problem with the trade market, because there are so few teams that might be trading, their value is going to be so high.
Right. So you'd rather go for someone way bigger, like go big or go broke, basically.
Yeah.
Than just get incrementally better pieces.
Because we already have incrementally better pieces.
Yeah.
With what we have right now, I think we are a definite World Series contender. If somehow Will Myers comes back and is half decent,
yeah,
and we can platoon him and Mazzaro, that'd be great. And if they can if Mazzaro's hitting over 300 right now, right, he's doing a really good job for us. Apparently, he can't hit left-handed pitching.
No.
But
he wasn't hired to do that, though.
No, but he can play. He plays a decent outfield. In my opinion, he's a left-handed better hitter than Myers is right now.
Yeah.
And Myers can hit left-handed pitching very well. So he comes back to platoon. I'm happy with that.
So that being said, as it stands now, what two things do we need to acquire? What two positions do we need to upgrade before the trade deadline? Or is it that specific, or would you keep it more open?
If we could get a superstar outfielder,
yeah,
that will give us hit 20 more home runs before the end of the season, and play a good quality outfield defensive position, it might be worth it. The only position that's up in the air right now, I think Jerickson has proven he's going to be our left fielder now for the rest of the year.
Right.
Trent Grisham, he plays a good outfield, but if he can't hit correctly, his spot's tenable, and so is right field. If we can get a really great hitter out there, I'm okay with it. It's not make or break for me. Because the thing is, like, when we get Tatis back, that adds an extra power bat. Honestly, I think the only places that we can improve offensively would be first base and right field.
Yep.
Or if we can get a really great center fielder. But there's none of those out there.
Yeah, I agree. That's why, to me, it's like, if DePoto would be chaotic. DePoto is the kind of person that would trade Ty France.
Yes.
If he got someone that, like, especially because I think DePoto probably thinks he can always get. DePoto's probably smarter than Preller in this, is that he could probably always get a sluggerish first baseman, which is traditionally true, right?
Yes.
And so I think DePoto could be like, if they're at 9 games out in middle of July, All-Star game, I could see Ty France being on the market. It'd be very funny if we trade back for him.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested in that, obviously. But it becomes another problem of what then happens to Hosmer and all that kind of stuff.
Because you can't have a $20 million a year baseball player riding the bench.
Sure, you can if ownership willing to deal with that.
That's true.
I mean, Angels did cut Albert Pujols.
That is true.
But it's a tough pill to swallow to give a $20 million person to just be a bench warmer. So, but we'll have more of these discussions because, things change. People get injured. Teams get worse. So be more discussions on trade deadline as it approaches. So I'm excited. Anything else to add, James?
Keep voting for All-Stars.
That's right. Manny Machado is leading third baseman in the National League, obviously, in votes because he's the best National League third baseman. Not crazy to say that this year. So
Not at all.
Looks like he'll be the starting third baseman in the All-Star game, which is super cool. Yeah, keep voting. Let's get Eric Hosmer in there. Screw it. Let's just make it happen. Why not? We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're wherever on Apple's podcast. We know where we're at. You're listening to us on YouTube, probably. Thank you so much for your continued listenership. Until next time, James.
Go Padres.
And there it is. Oh, doctor, you can hang a star